This is Bharat International Tourism Bazaar. The idea was to have a bazaar focused on tourism, international in nature, but steeped in Bharat. The idea was that the outbound sector remains largely, to my mind, fragmented because I think there is also a fear of cartelization amongst foreign companies. So people don't want to be seen together, debating trends, debating strategies.
Japan and India have enjoyed strong cultural ties since ancient times. In recent years, the cooperation between Japan and India has been rapidly developing in many fields, such as manufacturing industries, as well as major infrastructure projects like Mumbai-Ahmedabad high-speed rail projects and dedicated freight corridor project from Mumbai to Delhi.
Now people are looking at new destinations. They really move the economy. They come back with fresh ideas. They come back with investment, and their Indian tourism is really helping the economy. And Indian medical conferences are also going all over the world. Indian marriages are multi-million dollar, over $1 billion business.
In the United States, travel and tourism is a huge industry for us. It represents some 2.6% of the U.S. GDP. It's $1.6 trillion in total output for the sector, with $906 billion being direct and $658 billion being indirect.
I think Europe is probably one of the first long-haul trips that Indians make. So it's a huge part of Indian outbound tourism. Malta is still a niche market within Europe, so it's normally not the first European country that an Indian traveller would visit.
India is the nation that buys more prepaid activities and experiences than any other nation when it comes to South Africa. But more than that, Indians don't do free time. Our Indian travellers will do 5 or 6 experiences a day. It's understand how that selling works, but that for us is the job creation lever.
The Indian traveller keeps changing, keeps evolving. But the countries, as how Subhash said earlier, the countries that have managed to make a huge impression on the Indian market is what I call the 3 C's, which they do successfully. They have a very strong communication strategy. They have great consular services that not only support but really encourage tourism. And connectivity is where the flies, as said by the ambassador, His Excellency earlier. If you get these 3 C's aligned, you have a successful strategy.
At the end of the month, there will be a very high-level meeting in Washington, D.C. I won't say who it's between. I won't even say which countries are involved, but maybe you can gather. And it will not surprise me at all if, in fact, tourism and tourism-related activities are something that are featured in that visit. That's certainly what we're hopeful about. But I think that focus on India has allowed us to gather stakeholders. It's allowed us to gather Brand USA and others to really increase the focus on India.
I just want to add on to Karan's connectivity. We sell a country that doesn't have direct lift. And we can tell you how bad it is to try and secure MICE business if you don't have direct lift. It is a massive challenge.
I can only speak from national experience. We find that Indian tourists are quite demanding. I mean, the standards are high. The standards keeps us on edge. We need to offer a high quality product, and the Indian market is not something we can take for granted. It requires work, it requires care, attention. The product we offer has to be a very high standard.
Every government should think of e-visas because you get time to scrutinize the applications, and it is so convenient for people because basically what you want to see is the security, the blacklist that you have, your intelligence people have, and whether he's going to be an asset or a liability.
We all want our travelers to be safe. We all want our travelers to be secure. So if there's a little extra screening that goes into this, we believe that that is actually providing a safer environment for business people who are traveling, for tourists who are traveling.
We've talked about open skies, but unfortunately, the bureaucracy in this country is quite powerful. And you've all seen the Yes Minister and the Yes Prime Minister, serials. They always have an argument to protect the national carrier. And I have always said that yes, Air India is important, but India is more important than Air India.
Let's say 50 years ago, we started concentrating on the inbound because it was bringing tourists to India and really businessmen to India. That was the focus. Today, when you board a Lufthansa plane, you won't see too many Europeans on that plane because we are, as you know, more Indian than you think.
Singapore Airlines, amid this global uncertainty, I think there are so many things coming along. We still see a lot of growth in the market, and especially in India. For us, Singapore Airlines, India is a priority market. Okay, we have actually put a lot of resources in. We actually have 4 airlines flying here.
Basically, we talked about the potential. So earlier there was a panel here, and very educated panel who enlightened us with a lot of information in terms of what kind of potential do we have in and out of India. So in terms of US, all of you are basically the stakeholders. You must be aware that we have 1.5 million travelers, both sides traveling in and out. But India's participation to US is about 1.5% to their arrivals, and their participation to our arrivals is about 15%. Having said that, I feel the kind of growth we are looking at our outbound, there's a huge potential.
We've been offering 5-star quality service in the air with reasonable price between both Mumbai and Delhi and Tokyo, Japan, every day safely and comfortably, and waiting for your flying.
We started our flights into a small town called Trichy, which many of you around this table may also not know, and in 2008, and now we fly 4 times a day into Trichy to KL and onward. Similarly, our next station was Kochi, and now we fly twice a day to KL and once a day to Bangkok from the small city of Kochi. We have really opened up India.
Today, I'm happy to say that we are a truly global airline. We cover 11 destinations in Europe. We have 4 destinations in US, then Asia Pacific, South Asia, Gulf.
Are you profitable in India?
Normally, we would not operate a flight without making at least break even. We have really expanded. Scoot followed us, and now Norwegian, 3-4 of these low-cost, long-haul carriers are coming up. I think we really need to wait and see how it works.
This is not, I think, for the European low-cost airlines in the moment on the agenda. And don't forget, even low-cost in Europe is still quite a high cost level when you compare it to the cost levels when you're operating out of Asia.
We are very clear. We have the low-cost carrier, which is Scoot and Tiger Air, and you have the Singapore Airlines and Silk Air as full-service carrier. So we provide different price points for our customers. So it is for the customers to choose if they want to have a more comfortable, more convenience, more service. They choose the full-service product.
I just feel personally, I think it's important to have a national carrier for sure. I think in a lot of ways it does reflect the strength of a country. It does reflect your commitment to the aviation.
Air India can become an airline that every Indian will be proud of. And I believe that India should have a national carrier, but at the same time, it should be answerable to shareholders, not members of parliament and not government bureaucrats. So there has to be a change in the ownership of Air India. There has to be private, investment in Air India, whether it is Tata's, and Tata's were investing once jointly with Singapore Airlines.
We've started operation 65 years ago with just 2 helicopters. And another Japanese airline was government owned. And we compete each other. We are good competitor each other. And now we are the biggest airline with our own effort.
I think the concept of a national carrier is important.
You think it's relevant?
It is relevant. It can, and we could have really taken the market.
You need possibly, or one airline acquires a status with which the people of that country relate.
Associate.
So far, it is Air India.
The way I look at it is the rising purchasing power of the millennial, and that is something that we need to accept, and that will drive future businesses, whether you're in the airline business, hotel business, tour operating, destinations, whatever be it, not only for outbound but even for inbound, because the millennials are the youngest population on earth today, in India and out.
I find there is a lack of new thinking, new ideas, and therefore if somebody says OTAs are the best thing that happened to the Indian travel industry, everybody says yeah, OTA is the greatest thing that happened to the Indian industry. So I just think that there is a herd mentality that needs to change. That's for me the single largest observation.
And the biggest thing that we are seeing is that the Indian consumer is this year, perhaps even last year, is a significantly bolder decision maker.
I think today more and more people want to take a break, they want to take a vacation. So whether it's a 2-day break, a weekend break, domestic, or whether it's now when we have these long weekends or when we have these breaks where students go on leave, I think that's a very interesting trend.
I agree with 90% of what has been said. What we found is that our travel market is definitely getting younger. It's getting way younger, and they buy differently. 30 years ago, which means I wasn't born after 1990, when we were selling travel, we were talking airlines and we were talking accommodation. That was what we built around the package. Today, we bringing in a learning say into India in 17 cities. There is not a single conversation about accommodation and airlines. It's all about the experiences.
You notice that there's a lot of last-minute bookings. And last-minute bookings is a big challenge for everybody, because then the one thing that they don't factor in is the visa process.
The train moving from metro to the second tier and the third tier city. We will work with any airline that can give us benefit and inflows of tourism to Malaysia. In fact, we have signed a memorandum of understanding with Singapore Airlines to promote long-haul market and also from India market. And we also have signed an agreement with AirAsia to jointly promote Malaysia all of part of the world.
They're basically, they're 3 broad travelers. If you break it up, you have short haul, mid haul, and long haul.
We are a really big country, but we've only got 50 million people. During the November, December, January period, India is going up against our second biggest market, which is Germany, which have booked their accommodation in February. And then we wake up at Diwali and go, oh, let's go to South Africa in December. And South Africa turns around and say, we are full. And people go, how can a country be full? And we go, you have to understand, we have huge capacity constraints. We have nothing.
You do say that the delta between the connectivity and the tourism boards is the visa. There are destinations that are selling without connectivity. So that's the dilemma of what we are faced with in the tourism industry. And whether it's a representation or whether you're on the DMC line, the idea is to how do you bridge those situations and to the benefit.
Finally, 70% of travel happens between April, May, June and July. So how many companies can build an infrastructure on a pan-India basis to be able to service 30,000 clients between April, May and June and still have the infrastructure functioning for 12 months a year.
The people who are wanting to go outbound, or even those who want to buy an airline ticket, assume that there is transparency on an online travel agent space. Okay, this is one of the biggest fallacies, but nobody, and that's again goes back to what I was talking about, the herd mentality, that if you believe it's transparent, it is transparent. But it really is not. I mean, we all know that.
In our business, transparency has really helped us. It's helped our travel partners. We have a white label that we've given out to our travel partners who can do exactly the same functionality, use that as the same functionality as we do. There is complete transparency for the travel partners and the clients.
If the principal is transparent with the distributor, and the distributor in the case of, let's say, a cruise airline, show me one distributor who will actually tell the end user, I'm getting 18% on this cruise line and I'm going to give you 15% and 3% is for myself. Just name one guy in India who does this. That would be transparency, right?
What we're going to see now is the packaging is going to change, because when a client wants transparency, they don't want it across the board. You're absolutely right. They select it. They want to see it on a flight. It's the big ticket items that you want transparency on. Now, the moment you have mystery, you have margin. The moment, and for us as a tourism board, it's great. Sorry all of you guys on the train, because you're going to package better. You're going to put things together that is too impossible to break up and have transparency on every single item. And the guys are going to look at the basket and they're going to say, the value is there.
Where can I get reliable numbers as to the number of Indian travelers coming into my country? And the problem is that the airlines don't have it. Our immigration services do not have that specific data wrapped down. And of course, unfortunately, the travel fraternity, and we are all to blame in this, we all hype up our figures.
This is a chain, okay? They need us as much as we need them. For them to sit on a dais and say, when we look at GST, oh no, we're all right because it's service charge.
Why do we believe that the OTAs are getting these customers? If at one end we are saying that there's a 180-minute browsing time that happens, and yet the customer chooses to go to the OTA, why does that happen?
If we talk about millennials and flight bookings, it's actually the number is 3 websites and bookings close in less than 15 minutes. The reason why millennials don't go to travel agents is they don't like to talk. I mean, why do they need to talk to some person when they can do it themselves? And I'm working the entire day, I work 12 hours. I can definitely make a booking when I'm sitting in a meeting, but can I take a call of a travel agent and then he sends me 2 options and there's too much to and fro?
You know, Naveen, just to take it completely different and adding to what the lady says, the challenge that I look at, and I speak this not only as a mentor to certain groups, I'm also a micro angel investor in certain .coms. The way I look at it is the day we have to dynamic packaging.
The question I have though for the travel guys here, if you get that much more value going into the agents, and I mean we've made a commitment, we sell through agents, we understand it. Why are you so bad at telling the consumer?
Everybody knows this, the rough conversion of, let's say, 100 people going on a website is in the average of 2 to 3%. If you are a booking.com, which is the holy grail of online booking, it is 6%, right? So let's just take that as average as a 3%. Where is the remaining 97% going?
You know, so the challenge is that for everybody in this room, this entire discussion should be, what do we take out our learnings from here? These are the trends, these are the analysis. So this is what people are sharing. How is this going to help us monetize and be relevant in our own business?
There are 14 8,000 meter plus peaks in the world, and these all 14 peaks are in this region, in South Asia region. Not only that, there are thousands of languages are spoken in this region. When we talk about in Nepal, for example, our lowest point on earth is 50 meter and highest point is 8,848 meter, and that is just in between 100 kilometer of distance. Visitors, tourists, they are looking for very undiscovered places where their fathers or friends are not been there. Very late vibe of nature, with not the fast, the perfect timing of our region. And then Not only that, these days these stories are being very, very influential sales tool in this region, globally in tourism. So this is the land where the thousands of authentic and very original stories are.
If I may request you to just share with us the hotel supply scene in Kathmandu. How is the hotel supply happening? If you can just share that with us. In terms of new hotels, refurbishment, what's happening?
The investment in Nepal's tourism is investment in hotel now. Especially in Pokhara and Kathmandu, so many hotels are coming up. Big brand hotels, for example, Marriott, they have recently opened. Another Marriott is coming. Hyatt is extending. You are right, the casino packages, I don't know it is good or bad, but sometimes it ruined a kind of the image of or destination image of Nepal. There are some casinos now, but not like before. Yes, the hotels are coming up. In recent years, only 4,000 beds are added. Simply, at last, I would like to request all, let's go together, grow together, and gain together. Tourism is ours. We are for tourism. Thank you very much.